Bookish Babes, and welcome to my book nook. For those that are new around here, the name's Rainy. I read lots of different genres: thriller, horror, sci-fi, fantasy, romance, nonfiction, you name it, I read it. So please like and subscribe down below to my channel. It really does help my channel grow. So today's video is going to be a bit of a fantasy romance haul and TBR, because if you don't know, as of late, I've kind of stumbled on accident into my fantasy romance bag, and I'm not even a little bit upset about it. I've been obsessed with fantasy romances, just wanting to read as many as I can. Like, that is just where I'm at this point in my journey, and I'm not even a little bit sad about it. Plus, like, the thrillers have just not been slapping lately. I have not really been impressed with a thriller as of late. Every time I pick one up, it's just kind of lackluster for me. So, like, I don't know what's going on in the thriller and horror world, but I'm just not that interested in it at the moment. But fantasy romance is just sucking me in, and I'm gonna be a fan row girly for now. So I'm coming to you with about 15 to 20-ish fantasy romance books that I've either collected as of recently or that I really want to read, whether it is physically or on my KU, because my Kindle has become my best friend during this maternity leave that I'm on, which of course I had to sticker it up. But that's what we're going to talk about. So hopefully by the end of this video you get some really awesome fantasy romance recs that maybe you didn't know about, or that maybe you want to get into fantasy romance with me. Let's go on this journey together. So with that, let's dive in. Okay, so these are in no semblance of order at all. They're just the way that they were stacked. And so the first one that I borrowed from my library, because I wanted to see if it was for me, because I've heard it's kind of really political in the fantasy, like, and I'm not sure if that's my thing or not, is The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen. Okay, so this is about a girl named Laura, and she's a princess that's trained from childhood to be a spy. And so apparently she's told that the Bridge Kingdom represents evil and promise. She's sent as a bride under the guise of fulfilling a peace treaty, and so she's going to, like, destroy the prince and destroy the Bridge Kingdom. But then of course she ends up falling in love, I believe, with her new husband Aaron, and so, like, she has to decide whether she's going to be the destroyer of a king or the savior of her people. And so I am interested in reading this. However, I know I said I was going to borrow it from the library before I decide, but the sequel, The Traitor Queen, was $2 at the thrift store today when I was there. So, like, I felt like that was saying, Rainy, you need to read this series and you're going to like it. And if not, this was only $2. It's not that big of a loss. But I have been very interested in reading this, and I am very excited that I found the sequel. Up next, we have Helfyre by Mariel Pomeroy. I actually follow this author on Instagram, and so that is how I found out about it. I know she is actually just releasing, or has already released, a, like, alternate cover with, like, the pomegranates and stuff on it, and I like that one just as much, so I will probably buy it. But I need to get to this one. So this one says it's about two immortal creatures, one dangerous bargain. So after the death of her mother, Ahia finds herself stained by more blood than she can hide in her home of Kailasaros. She escapes the realm but pays the price, giving up her immortality and her powers. She becomes near mortal. Her desperate search for asylum leads her to the doorstep of the only place out of her abusive family's reach. But nothing in this world is free, and to buy her way to safety, she's forced to give up the only thing she has left to barter, her soul, in exchange for 7 days in the Devil's Realm. Interesting. I know that there's a sequel coming out for this soon, so I need to jump on it, but I saw the cover and I said, say less, honestly. Say less. Up next is a book that I had recommended from my friend Chantel over at Nell's Novels on Instagram. And if I got any of these book recs from people, I will drop their handles or their YouTubes or whatever down below this video. And that is Tricky Magic by L.L. Campbell. This is one of 2 books, I believe. And this is a witchy book. It says, she is his fire, he is her chaos. They will turn the world upside down. And so it's about Elia, and she's a witch, a mix of both the respected seers and the feared tricksters. She's also spent her whole life in the shadows of her parents' infamous attempted destruction. After her feared vision of the future shifts into something darker than before, she runs to a town that used to be a haven for her, but things are no longer as they seem. The world of supernaturals is so much more than she thought, and after a run-in with a mysterious hunter, she found her powers spiraling. Will her town be the place she finally leaves her fear behind to embrace a new future, or will they become destructive and result in her own destruction by the frustratingly handsome hunter? I'm very excited to read this. Like I said, it is a duology. It looks like it is dual perspectives between her and the hunter, and I love the cover. It's just so cute, so definitely got to make its way to here soon. Up next is a book that I bought because I've heard nothing but fabulous stuff about it, and it is a YA fantasy romance. However, I want to read the other series that goes with it first, because I've heard that the worlds are related, but I want to read this one, which is why I'm going to read the other series. And that's Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I've been wanting to get to this for a while. I'm telling you, everybody tells me that this is such a fabulous series. And yes, I know that you don't have to read the Caraval series in order to read this, but I'm one of those people that if the worlds are connected and the other series came out first, I'm going to read that series first. Okay? Okay. So this one is about Evangeline, and she believes in true love and happy endings until she learns that the love of her life is going to marry another. She's desperate to stop the wedding, so she strikes a deal with the immortal Prince of Hearts, but soon discovers bargaining with him is a dangerous game. He has plans for her, plans that'll end in the greatest happily ever after or the most exquisite tragedy. This sounds real cute. And I've heard that the Ballad of Never After, the sequel, is actually the better of the two. So it only gets better from here. Up next is an author that I have a couple of first books in her series, but this is the one that speaks out to me the most. And that is Laura Thalassa. I have her first book for Pestilence, the Four Horsemen series. I have her first book in the Rhapsodic series. But the one that I really want to read is Bewitched. First off, the cover is just beautiful. I don't know if that's supposed to be an eye, a crystal ball, a dragon's egg. I don't know what that is, but it's beautiful. And so this one says it's about Celine Bowers, who hopes to be accepted into Hembain Coven, an academy for young witches. One of the requirements for entry is to connect with her powers through a quest in the wilderness. So she books a trip to South America. A supernatural force tries to drag her plane from the sky, so she uses her magic to save her life at a cost, and using her powers devours her memories. And then when she braves the jungle, she finds herself awakening an ancient evil, Memnon the Cursed, who mistakes Celine for his long-dead wife, the wife who betrayed him. So she ends up, I guess, stuck there. And then when he turns up at the coven and the witches are found dead across campus, she becomes entangled in a plot. And so she has to rely on his help for answers. But he also thinks she's his wife that betrayed everything. So this sounds a little wild. I am not going to lie. I have heard mixed reviews on this one. I've heard one or two people say that they really liked it. I've heard one or two people say that they didn't care for it. So where am I going to lie in this? I don't know. But I'm hoping to get to this very soon. Up next is a book that I saw recommended by, I believe, Rachel from Raven-Haired Reader, and that is A Fate of Wrath and Flame by K.A. Tucker. I have read The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker, and I absolutely loved that. It was 5 stars. It was beautiful, and so this is her fantasy romance, and I'm not going to really explain this one very well because it has a very intricate plot, and I don't understand 100%. All I know is that it's about a thief named Romaria, and she steals jewels from the rich under like a very notorious crime boss. When a woman secures her services at sword point, she's plunged into a realm of opposing thrones, warring elven and elemental magic that she cannot begin to fathom. And her quest throughout this book is to steal a stone from a sacred garden without anyone discovering her true identity. So it's like a stolen identity type situation, and I'm sure that goes to like crap real fast. But it has a lot more explanation on the back, but we're going to be here forever if I read it all, and I'm still kind of confused as to what this is about. But you know what? I'm still excited to get to this, so let's rock with it. Up next, I've seen a couple different people talking about this in their fantasy romance TBRs, and so I'm hoping that I can get to this very soon, and that is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This, it sounds really, really cool. It's about a girl named Elspeth, and she needs more than luck to stay safe in this kingdom of blunder. She needs a monster. She calls him the Nightmare, an ancient mercurial spirit that's trapped in her head. He protects her and keeps her secrets, but nothing comes for free, especially magic. So when she meets a mysterious highwayman on the road, her life takes a drastic turn. She has to join a dangerous quest to cure blunder of the dark magic infecting it, except the highwayman just so happens to be the king's own nephew, captain of the most dangerous men in blunder, and guilty of high treason. So this sounds exciting. I do know that the beginning of each chapter comes with like this little poem that apparently ties into the rest of the chapter, which I'm excited about that. I bought the audiobook on Audible during the Audible sale, so I definitely am going to be getting to this one sooner than later. Then this one, I only saw one person talk about it in a reading vlog, and they didn't even like it that much, but for some reason it spoke to me, so if I don't like it, oh well. And that is The Promise of Fire by Amanda Boucher, or Bousset. I'm just terrible at pronouncing names, y'all. Just go with it. And this one says it's about Kat Fisa. I know why I was interested in this one. She runs away with a traveling circus, and I am a circus girly. That is why I liked this one. So, Kat is perfectly content disguised as a soothsayer in a traveling circus, avoiding the destiny the gods and her dangerous family have saddled her with. As far as she's concerned, the magic within her blood can live and die with her, but then she locks eyes with a warlord from the magic-depraved south, and her illusion of safety is shattered forever. Griffin knows Kat as the Kingmaker, the woman able to divine truth through lies, and he wants her to be a powerful weapon for his newly conquered realm. So he kidnaps her, she fights him, but can he ever hope to prove to his once captive that he wants her by his side as his equal, maybe even someday his queen? So it's a kidnapping captive story. Like I said, the circus aspect really pulled me in. Also, I love that the front of this book has a picture of what the main characters are going to look like. I wish all of them would have this. So I'm very excited for this one. This one I bought solely because the cover is holographic, but then I saw that my friend, the Bookish Mama on Instagram, had actually reviewed it and really enjoyed it. But the holographic cover is really enough, and that is A Broken Blade by Melissa Blair. Like, look at that. Ooh. Magical. This one says, Kira is a killer. As the King's Blade, she's the most talented spy in the kingdom and the King's favorite assassin. When a mysterious figure moves against the crown, she's called to hunt down the so-called Shadow. She tracks her target into the lands of the Fae, but Fae's land is not what it seems, and neither is the Shadow. She can't help but wonder who her enemy truly is. The King that destroyed her people, or the Shadow that threatens the peace. This one sounds pretty exciting. This one is no, it's not one of my shorter ones. I was about to say it's shorter because it looks shorter, but that's just because the pages are long. It's still like 450 pages. But I'm very excited to get to this one at some point as well. Then we have the chunker of the group, the biggest one by far. The audiobook actually just released today until I got it. And that is Blood Mercy by Vela Roth. This is beautiful, but it's like 700 pages. So I hope I like this. And I have heard it's a little bit more political, but it has like a 7-book series, and you know, the cover alone was just beautiful. So this one says, one human, one immortal. Will their alliance save the kingdom, or will their forbidden love be a death sentence? And so I don't know a lot about this book, but I'm just very excited to try it. And if I don't love it, I will be sad, because the cover alone is giving me life. It's giving life. Then we have another book from Miss Carissa Broadbent. I actually have 2 on this list from her, so I'll go with the first one. And the first one is Daughter of No Worlds, which is her War of Lost Hearts series. And so this is the series that she came out with before Serpent and the Wings of Night. And I'm actually doing a fantasy romance read-along to this series. And so this month we're reading the first book. I just love Carissa Broadbent's writing. I'm sure as soon as I start this, I'm not going to want to put it down. And so I'm definitely going to probably be annotating this one just because, like, I absolutely love her. And the thing that I love about it is I have to buy the hardcovers, which cost a lot more. But, like, how can you not when she makes beautiful, like, dust jacket? I mean, like, the card back. I can't not, you know? So I'm very excited to get to this. I know this one is about a girl named Tisana, and I believe that she has been sold into slavery, and she escapes, and she has to pledge herself to the Orders, an organization of magic wielders strong enough to destroy her masters. To earn her place, she's forced into an apprenticeship with this guy named Max, who's a reclusive fire wielder who despises the Order and has no interest in helping her. But as the Order's grip tightens around them both, his bloody past may be the key to her future or their downfall. And so I'm sure it's going to be a romance between the two, because it's a fantasy romance, don't you know? But this is probably the one that I'm most excited for. Aside from, of course, The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, which is the sequel to The Serpent and the Wings of Night, which I loved. Favorite book of the year so far. I'm calling it. I don't know if anything's going to beat that. Might even be my favorite book ever. I just loved it so much. And so I'm not going to say what this is about because this is the sequel. And so obviously that will ruin it. But this is your PSA that if you haven't read Serpent and the Wings of Night yet, you probably should. But Miss Carissa is writing the books for the girlies. I'm just saying. For the fantasy romance girlies. And I love it. Okay, so I have 2 more physical books of mine that I have acquired as of late, and they are currently on their way from Pango right now. And so I'm just going to show a picture of it. And the first one is called Lakesdge by Lyndall Clipstone. I had never heard of this book before. Honestly, I was looking for a different book, and then I went on the seller's site, and this book was $5, and the cover alone was just beautiful, and it looked like a gothic fantasy romance. And so I had to get it. Is it going to be bad? I don't know, because the rating on Goodreads is 3.49, so that's not very hopeful, but it was $5. So this one is about Violetta Graceling. She arrives at haunted Lakesdge estate and expects to find a monster. She knows the terrifying rumors about Rowan Sylvanen, who drowned his entire family when he was a boy, but neither the estate nor the monster are what they seem. As she falls for Rowan, she discovers he's bound to the Lord Under, the sinister death god lurking in the black waters of the lake, a creature to whom she is inexplicably drawn. In order to save him and herself, she must confront the darkness in her past, including unraveling the mystery of her connection to the Lord Under. I don't know. I just hope it's good. It looks pretty, okay? It looks very pretty. So we're going to give it our best go. And none of my friends have read this. So I can't even look on Goodreads to see if they think it's worthwhile. The other one, the one that I went on Pango to buy, is Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson. I can't remember who was talking about this book, but it looked very interesting. So this one is about Artemisia, and she's training to be a Grey Sister, a nun who cleanses the bodies of the deceased so that their souls can pass on. She would rather deal with the dead than the living. When her convent is attacked by possessed soldiers, she defends it by awakening an ancient spirit bound to a saint's relic. It's a malevolent being that threatens to possess her the moment she drops her guard, but death has come to her and only a Vespertine, or death has come to her town and only a Vespertine, a priestess trained to wield a high relic, has any chance of stopping it, so she turns to the last remaining expert for help, the Revenant itself. And that one just sounds interesting, so... And someone said that it is a mix of Wednesday, Joan of Arc, Venom, and Howl's Moving Castle, and that just really spoke to me, honestly. That's all I needed to hear. And then the last, like, 3 or 4 are ones that are on my KU that I plan on reading ASAP because someone has recommended it. Like, this first one was recommended by Jess from Honest Fiction, and that is A Court of Blood and Bindings by Lisette Marshall. It says, they call him the Silent Death because he kills without sound and leaves none capable of speaking in his wake. When the Empire's deadliest famed murderer catches her wielding forbidden magic, 20-year-old Emmeline believes her hour has come. Instead, her beautiful captor spares her life but carries her off on his velvet wings into the one place from which no human ever returns, the heart of the Fey Isles. The Silent Death is supposed to be the mother's loyal servant, but in the shadows he's playing a game of his own and he needs her magic to win it. If she agrees to work with him, she could free all of humanity, but can she trust a Fey male with so much blood on his hands? But can she also trust her himself because she's, gonna fall for him? I am hearing more and more people read this and they are saying that it is beautiful and that it is good, and so I am very excited to get to it. I need to read it ASAP. The next one I got recommended from Tori Between Pages. I believe they read this for the Romantasy readathon, and I was going to read it and then I didn't, so it's still on my KU. And it is called Court of Ravens and Ruin by Eliza Rain. And that one is about Raina, who was born a valuable slave to the Gold Court, imprisoned her whole life in a palace by sadistic, greedy Fae. When the palace is raided, she takes her opportunity to escape, but the raid is led by her worst nightmare, the prince of the most feared Fae of all, the Shadow Court, and he wants one thing, her. She doesn't know why he's kidnapped her, but when he announces her as his betrothed, she knows she must escape before she is eternally bound to him. Only when he takes the mask off, he isn't what she expects. He's beautiful and exudes sin and needs her. So she's drawn into a deadly world, shrouded in secrets and desperate to keep her own hidden. She must find a way out. If she doesn't, she risks more than death. She risks giving everything to her intoxicating captor. And this one is very short, I know, because I was looking at it on my KU the other day, and it's only like 300 pages, and so that one I will probably get to sooner than any of the others. The next one I'm probably going to start reading within this week because it is a pirate one, and so I'm reading like piratey and mermaid books for Once Upon a Readathon, and that is On These Black Sands by Vanessa Rosanen, and I got this one mainly from Chantel from Nell's Novels because she talks about this one all the time. So this one says, he doesn't mind killing people, he just prefers to do it on his own terms. But the pirates have no say in who they kill on this island. The council orders, the pirates obey. This arrangement has kept Declan from setting foot on these shores for years until a bit of bad luck forces him to return. But it may prove a lucrative stop if the rebels' information is true. Find the dagger, escape this life, but only if this damn stowaway doesn't ruin everything first. Do I need anything else? A good, smutty, dark, piratey romance is all that I need, as you saw in my latest vlog where I read Sea of Ruin and A Ship of Bones and Teeth. It sounds so good. Another one I just bought on Kindle for $1.99 the other day because it was on sale and I've seen it around and it looked good, so I hope it is. And that's The Witch Collector by Carissa Weeks. And it says, Raina Bloodgood has one desire, kill the Frost King and the Witch Collector who stole her sister. On collecting day, she means to exact murderous revenge, but a more sinister threat sets fire to her world. Rising from the ashes is the collector Alexis Tybalt, the man she vowed to slay and the only person who can help save her sister. So she must abandon vengeance and aid the Witch Collector in saving the Frost King, or let their empire and her sister fall into enemy hands. But of course, the lines between good and evil blur. She has more to lose than she imagined. What is she to do when the Witch Collector is no longer the villain who stole her sister, but the hero who's stealing her heart? And this is the beginning of a series because you know I'm notorious at starting series and never finishing them. So let's just add this one to the list. And the last one I got for free on Audible. I don't know why it's for free on Audible and why you don't have to pay for this audiobook, but I'm going to take it. And I loved their other book, The Coven. And so this is one of their other series, and it's What Lies Beyond the Veil by Harper L. Woods. And I am not going to explain this synopsis because this one looks longer than all of the others. I'm going to go back to right before I decided to read this synopsis. I don't understand what's going on in this book, so I'm not going to explain this synopsis. If you want to look at it, go read the synopsis. But I'm very excited to get to this because I absolutely loved The Coven by them. Like, it was a 5-star read. I can't wait for book number 2. And so I've heard people have enjoyed this one as well. So I definitely want to make sure that I prioritize this one sooner than later. And that is it, friends. Those are all of the fantasy romance romance books that I have either acquired recently or hauled or want to read, and I know it was a lot. Put down in the comments below which one I should start with and prioritize sooner than later. I know I'm going to be getting to a lot of these in July, because in July is going to be a mood reading month for me where I'm just going to read whatever I want when I want, and fantasy romance is going to be happening. Let me know if there's any other fantasy romance reads that I should put on my TBR that I don't already have there, and I'm going to have a fabulous time reading all these books. And so with that, my friends, I will see you guys in another video. Bye!